Welcome, everybody, to the Wonders Workshop. We're here tonight. It's me, by the way, Tex Hooper, not Slappy White. Slappy is actually on his way back from Istanbul, where he was getting a hair transplant done. So he should be back, I believe, this evening at some point. So we have that to look forward to, his new look coming soon. But let's get on with the show. This is, like I said, Wonders. All about wonders tonight. We're here with Grace, who is a Carolina girl, and we're here with American Texan, who is he's back off mute. Hi,
Yeah,
how are you guys doing?
Howdy. I'm a professional. I don't mute when you're talking. I keep it professional. I may forget to unmute, but don't let anyone ever say I interrupt you because I'm probably muted if I ain't talking. Howdy, y'all. Happy Tuesday. We are getting ready for Vegas. Grace, are you ready?
I'm ready to stay in my apartment.
Come on, you're ready to watch and the Discord and see everyone having a good time, right? Someone's got to man the Discord if we're not there. If we're playing,
who's gonna be live streaming from the event? That's what I want to know. Are you Texan?
I don't know. I wish I was. I'm going to be playing. I threw my hat in the ring. I sent the Wonders team. I said, hey, look, if y'all want commentators, I'll do it. I'll run the media team if I have to. But I know they got enough on their plate. But yeah, hopefully next year we'll have some live streams going on, a little announcer commentator booth. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Definitely.
Dude, if I had been able to make it out there, that's what I would have been doing.
Yeah. Well, we're all very excited for Las Vegas, but we're going to save that for a little bit. And let's get into right now how the collector booster boxes for the upcoming Call of the Stones, how the allotment was decided. There was a rewards point system that Jeff and the team came up with. I'll go over it really quickly. It was 1 point per every $250 spent in real money. And then event participation was 3 points. So going to the first shattering was worth 3 points.
Can we back this up and recap what all these points are for and the issue that we had, just to give it context here? Just in case anyone's jumping in and has either forgotten or gotten cold or maybe only knows half the story.
True. Well, do you want to refresh us with it? With what all is involved?
Sure. So the Wonders of the first team had a really good problem. And Grace, correct me on anything because you're more technical than I am. But essentially, we had the pre-sale for the Call of the Stones. The second set happened last week, and it was a 3-day pre-sale. It was not a first come 4-day. Thank you, Grace. Already, it was a 4-day pre-sale. It was not first come first serve. It was an entire window where they said, come in and order how many boxes you want, and every 6 boxes is a case. And if you don't know what that is, that means basically every 6 boxes you order, they ship you one big box that has those booster boxes inside of it. The booster boxes are supposed to MSRP for $375, but for the pre-sale they were selling for $250. Is that right, Grace? $250 each.
50.
And that was your walk out the door price, tax included. And what happened was the gates opened and everything flooded. There was more people that wanted booster boxes than booster boxes were available.
And order every 52 seconds.
Yeah, and to specify, these are collector booster boxes, which means every box has a serialized hit or an autograph. So just by the simple math that there's only 99 OCMs that are commons, 75 uncommon OCMs, 50 rare OCMs, 25 epic OCMs, and 10 mythic OCMs, right? And then only 1 stone foil for every treatment. And then we don't know how many autographs there are, but I'm assuming that there are at least, what do you think, Carolina? 25, 50? I hope it's less than 10 autographs per alt art. So they're even more rarer than the OCMs. But anyways, we don't know how many autographs there are. But anyways, by the simple math, there are only so many boxes that can be made because half of those serializations go into the dragon boxes. The other half, I don't know, I'm guessing half, but if there's 3,000 or $29.99 dragon boxes and each box is going to have 4 serialized hits. I mean, Grace, maybe you can do the math. You're in college. That only leaves so many collector boxes to have that guaranteed hit. So all that to say, thank you, Tex, for letting me provide context to this so we're all on the same
Yeah.
page. There are only so many collector booster boxes because everyone is going to have this serialized OCM hit inside of it. And they're guaranteeing it this time. They're not saying an average of one. They're saying every box is going to get a hit. So just by simple math, there are only so many collector booster boxes. This is not all of the boxes for the set. There are going to be play booster boxes that Frenchie announced. So if you want paper cards to play with, to compete with, those are the main ones I'm going to be chasing or buying for the set. Those will be available. That's not what we're pre-ordering here. These are the collector booster boxes. It's the middle of the road. You get a lot of play packs, well, collector packs, but are functionally play packs. But then you're going to get 10 to 12 hit packs that have formless foils and the OCMs inside of it. And not only that, out of all of the allocation, all the collector booster boxes, they were only pre-selling originally 50% and they upped it to 65%. But there was people that wanted more than what they had. So for example, if I have $100 and I've got 105 people that want that want $2, I've got to break it down to where some people are only going to get $1 and I guess not 105. Let's say I had $100 and there was 40 people that wanted $5, right? I can't give everyone $5. I got to bring it down to give everyone $2 and then a couple people get $3. Is that a better analogy? So
Math
they had
is
to
hard.
do,
It's fine.
yeah, they had to do an allocation, which means that everyone who ordered a case, you probably didn't get a case because if you did, some people were going to walk away with nothing. And it's a tough problem to have in business. And I respect the team for having to make the decision. They had to decide either some people were going to get nothing or the people who ordered a lot were going to get less so everyone else could get at least one. And now, how did they determine the people that ordered a lot? How many less boxes were they going to get? How were they going to determine how many people who ordered 3 boxes were only going to get 2 boxes or 1 boxes? How were they going to determine the people that ordered a case should still get a case? Well, they ended up creating their own point system. And this goes way further than I expected the team to go. When Frenchie announced the point system, I was like, I thought I would have just rolled dice or just said, hey, just randomize everything and just let it all be random. I know Frenchie loves random, right? Yeah. But no, they actually created a point system and an algorithm that assigned point values based on your history with the company, purchase history, community activity engagement, whether you're going to the events, and we'll go into those points here, Tex. But all of that said, they really tried to give it a fair shake because everyone was getting down. In fact, in one of the chats, someone even said, I have a feeling we're going to get slaughtered. And I know a lot of people felt that way because some people ordered a case, 6 boxes, and they only got 2. Some people ordered 3 boxes, they only got 1. And I know especially for the people that ordered a case to get the guaranteed Dragon Box redemption code. Well, it's not really a redemption code. It's more of a coupon, right? Or something like that. Purchase option. Yeah. They ordered a case. They went above and beyond to get a case to get that code. And then when they got allocated down, they were no longer guaranteed the code. It was a 1 in 6 shot per box. And some people didn't get that code. So that's very unfortunate. And that's a hard pill to swallow. But how did they decide, Tex, then to, unless I missed something, Grace, to figure out who needs to get allocated by how much?
Grace, I think he got everything in there.
I think he's got everything.
Yeah, that was very good.
And
I can't wait to get back to Boba with my safe zone.
Just a note for anybody who's wondering where this information is. If you go to the Wonders website, not Cardi.io Wonders website, the Wonders game website, go to their news and then blog. It'll be the very first blog post that pops up. I've got it pulled up right now so that I can, see and make sure that what we're talking about is correct.
Actually, Grace, I'll pull it up on the screen if you want to go through it, or I can go through it.
Yeah, I don't mind reading it. And then I think we probably want to talk about each point individually.
Yeah. And while you're pulling that out, we got Slappy's in the chat. He says there's still available flights, Grace. So you can, go find a flight. They're still available. If I was able to get my flight. And then he says, well said, Texan. Thank you for that. SciTech is in here. I got to play him twice in Houston. Fantastic player. Fantastic dude. He said when allocation came out, I rarely saw anyone mention they got 4 or more. Most were saying they got 1, 2, or 3. I'd be very interested in the average order. Like, was the average order 4 boxes and the average receipt was like 2 boxes? Or did everyone try to order a case and there were just a few people who ordered 1 or 2? I don't know. And then, we got Hanging Banana says, hi, friends. And then some kind of symbol. I think it means he's smiling. I'm not sure about that.
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely.
That was
I'm
a
trying to
country
figure.
joke.
I'm not used to working from this side of the screen, so I don't know where the button is. I cannot see the guest chat. So if you guys see anybody
Which
asking questions on there, just jump in and answer them for them if need be. Anyway, let's talk about these points and how they were allocated. Grace, do you want to go ahead and I'll put it back up on the screen so people can follow along.
Yeah. So there were 5 pieces of criteria. The first was 1 point for every $250 spent on the existence set Kickstarter, and that was prorated, which, as they stated here, just means that you got a 1/10 of a point if you spent a 1/10 of $250 equal, which is $25. 3 points if you attended the first shattering. I think everybody in the Wonders world knows what the shattering is, but just in case you don't, it's kind of the launch event for Wonders, and there will be a shattering 2.0 for Call of the Stones when that set launches. And then 3 points if you completed the Discord to email matching survey and you have commented in any channels this year. And then Card Geek Hall of Fame members, the club, which anyone can join and made up the very first Wonders community, were awarded 5 points per Legend Geek, 2 points per Hero Geek, and 1 point per All-Star Geek. And then the last and the least transparent, although I don't blame them because the word proprietary is in here, is that points were awarded based on their proprietary CRM scoring system. And it basically came out to an average of 3 points per person. So we don't really know what went into that, but generally I'm guessing it has to do with a bunch of data and stuff that they have on the back end. Texan, are there any of these things that stick out to you as something to talk about?
I mean, besides the CRM scoring system, I know there's been some conspiracy talk in the Discord, and I don't want to flame the conspiracy talk, but some people are saying, oh, well, if you talk bad about the team in Discord, or if you left a negative comment on the Facebook ad, they know who you are, and they're going to not give you as many points. I don't think that's true. I don't think there was any penalization. I don't think there was any favoritism there. I don't think you go this far if you are going to play favorites. If you're going to play favorites, you're just going to play favorites. You're not going to make up a whole algorithm and a whole story about that. This isn't the moon landing.
It's also like, and maybe this is me being silly, but like, I wouldn't have called it a CRM scoring system if it wasn't using a CRM software like that's pulling data. I would have just called it I wouldn't have called it CRM if it didn't involve the CRM software. So to me, that tells me that it's probably more based on, I don't know whether they use Salesforce or like what CRM they use, but I'm guessing it, or whether they have their own, but I'm guessing it's based on that.
I imagine on the back end, just from my experience running a marketing agency, I imagine there's going to be some kind of data involved with it along with retargeting. It wasn't in the blog post, correct me if I'm wrong, but they did say they took into account your SCG event attendance, whether you signed up for SCG events and went and competed. That was taken into consideration. Since it wasn't on the blog, I think that's maybe one of the things that is in the CRM, which means the CRM is connected to cardio, which means that data can show, have you been in there building decks? Have you been in there looking at cards? Have you signed up for SCG events? Because that's where the signups are, is in cardio. When was the last time you logged in? And maybe, and this is just me thinking here, right? You can call me a conspiracy theorist. I'll trade this cowboy hat for a tinfoil hat. But maybe they look at, when was the last time you logged into cardio? Was it the last 6 months? You get 3 points. Was it 6 months to a year ago? You get 2 points. Do you at least have an account? Well, that's at least 1 point. That's just one example. And then too, if you're logged in the cardio, maybe they have you cookied. So they see, how many times have you visited the website? How many times have you looked at the rules or whatever? I mean, all these things we can track. Now they can't specifically tie it to you. For example, a Facebook ad. Facebook doesn't give us emails or other data like that. We barely get like gender and age group. It's really Facebook doing all the data stuff, and they just tell us, and we have to trust them on our side. So I don't think they're checking things like your social media usage and mentions and all that. There are tools that tell you how many times people are talking about you, but they don't tell you like exactly, here's this email and they tagged you 3 times in this Facebook post. But I imagine since they're tied into cardio, if they are tied into cardio, they also are also tied into some kind of cookie that you have on your computer, so they can try to see how many times you visited the website, at what times, how active you are, how many times you click the share button on posts. Maybe, I don't know. Can you share a blog post? So anyways, I'm sure they're tracking some of that, and they're giving you points.
Yes.
Maybe. You can share anything, but is it trackable is the question.
Well, true.
It's a WordPress website based on how their website that the blog posts are on, based on, I do a lot of work with WordPress for some reason, because my school likes WordPress and scouting likes WordPress, and it looks like it's built like a WordPress website. And so I would guess that the share buttons down at the bottom of this blog post can be tracked because WordPress can track that.
Yeah, so they can track that. I don't know if they have any data from who's buying cards from SCG. Have you bought something from SCG? Are there other e-com stores they can show? I don't know. The Discord one was the one that surprised a lot of people, that if you spent $750 on the Kickstarter, that was of equal point value as to just making a comment in Discord. Some people were kind of upset with that. I think that just shows how much the team values community, which to me is a bonus.
And
go ahead, Grace.
I feel like I remember reading somebody commenting something along the lines of, well, if somebody had told me the survey mattered, I would have done it. And
I didn't say that, but that was me. I didn't do the survey because I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
And
you always do the surveys.
I've learned that lesson, Tex. Thank you. Always do the surveys.
Always.
And I remember thinking to myself, like, if this team is nudging you to do something, that there's probably a reason to do it. And it was a 3-second survey. Like, you typed into your name, your email, and your Discord username.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Lesson learned.
It was pretty simple. It was barely a survey, more than just like a questionnaire.
Yeah. I think there's more, and whatever data we think they have, they probably, like Facebook, they probably got 10 times more. Facebook's got 1 billion times more data.
Is there anything you guys would have changed about the scoring system or how they did it? Or is there anything that you think should have been accounted for that wasn't, or should have been maybe weighed more heavily than something else?
I probably personally, assuming SCG is in the SCG Con attendance is in the CRMs, I would have taken it out and made it its own point category of 3 total points, 1 point for each SCG Con that you could have attended, because there's been 3 so far. And I know that where our community is now versus where you were then, where we were when the shattering happened is very different. And I think attending SCG Cons is a good indicator of how active you are in the community. I think the reason that potentially wasn't done is because they said frequently in various different posts, this is to thank people who have been here for the long run. And so I think we're seeing the design of this weighted to support and to more heavily favor people who have been involved with Wonders for longer periods of time. And that's, I think, why the shattering is weighted so heavily. So it just depends on, like, I probably would have put SCG Con more heavily just because some of those people who are going to those are as equally as invested. They just haven't had the same time length.
Yeah. I mean, if you're rewarding length, then the Kickstarter should be weighed heavier than just chatting in a Discord post or chatting in a Discord at once the past year. to me,
Well,
I
like you
see
said,
that as, we just want you to be engaged because, there were way more people that probably backed the Kickstarter than are in the Discord or at least active in the Discord. I'm not sure, but there's plenty of people that weren't in on the Kickstarter that are in the Discord. And if I see it as valuing community more in that, hey, we know you're new here. You've only been here for a couple months. You found out about it at SCG, but we value your engagement by taking the step to sign up for Discord and join the Discord. We value that just as much as the people who were here over a year ago backing the Kickstarter. One of the things too that could be fun to see, well, not fun to see, but speculate is, did you back the Kickstarter twice? If you backed it one, if you backed it one time, that's a flat point. If you backed it twice, you're a loyal friend. You got 2 points. I don't know. It's one of the things that are just like fun to think about, but
do we know if that was baked in?
No, we don't know.
We don't
Again,
know.
that would be in the proprietary
That
CR.
could have been in there.
That's why I said speculate. But you want to know the data they have. They know who backed both Kickstarters because they sent you a surprise gift a couple weeks or a couple months later. So SciTech said, I think what really sparked some resentment is the fact that they pushed people to buy cases by the benefits of getting a discounted, very discounted Dragon Box. And I totally understand that. Sometimes you tell your kids you're going to go to the ice cream store and the ice cream shop's closed. And so you got to take them through the Chick-fil-A drive-thru and get an ice cream cone or something, and it's like it's not the Sunday you wanted, but
don't diss ice cream, Texan.
Sometimes the ice cream shop's closed. You got to call an audible or come back a different day. And I agree. I mean, I tried to get a case for the same reason. I was like, look, I'm going to get a case and I'm going to get a Dragon Box, and it didn't work out. And I understand because some people too were probably like, I'm going to buy 3 boxes. That's $750. If I double it, then I get a Dragon Box, and that turns my $750, for 3 boxes into $2,000 for 6 boxes and a Dragon Box. But the Dragon Box is 4 times more valuable than the booster box, so you get a little bit more of your money back. I don't know the math that's going on in people's heads, but I can imagine some people did that and tried to go in for that case because really they wanted the Dragon Box and they just couldn't. Because I know some people too are kind of frustrated that you couldn't get a Dragon Box with cash. MSRP or from the manufacturer. You had to go secondhand or secondary market. And this was a way to actually get it firsthand. And now they can't.
Yeah. I mean, I think, this is an incredibly limited product. Call of the Stones is a bigger print run than the existing set was, but not by much. So I think that's where, maybe the issue arises is they want to encourage people like, they know everybody's going to want to get a Dragon Box, and Dragon Boxes are incredibly limited and very hard to get. And so they're telling people, hey, if you really want a Dragon Box, try for a case, try for, 2 cases. We don't guarantee anything. You might get a case, you might not, but there's always that chance, so do you want to, kick yourself later for saying, oh, I should have tried for 3 more boxes and I could have got a case and could have got a Dragon Box. Instead, I, just went for my 3 or, but then the other side of the coin is that you put in for a case, like you said, and you end up with 4 boxes and you miss out on the Dragon. But I think, it's such a difficult balancing act between the amount of people that want product. I think they said there's over 100,000 people on their mailing list. For this product that got, invites to all this stuff and to be able to participate in all this. And there's no way there's enough product for all those people, to get exactly what they want. So I think it's, in order to keep the kind of collectability aspect of it and to keep the print runs down, that, this is kind of the double-edged sword that they have.
And let me tell you again, just to not be a Debbie Downer here, but I would prefer this situation. This is a hard situation, but I much prefer this rather than selling out Thursday at 2:00, right? Because I was looking around like, hey, where can I get another $250 so I can get another box? Because I realize, you buy a case, it's 6 boxes, but there's 7 promos. So if you buy a case, you're only getting 6 promos. Even if you get each one differently, you're still going to have to go out and buy that other one. So I was like, well, I'd rather buy 7 boxes or try to buy 7 boxes, get the 7 promos, and then the duplicates I can trade, but I want a set of 7. So I only had enough money for 6 and a Dragon, but having the pre-sale window, I was able to go out and find some more money so I could buy another box. It gave me that time, whereas I wouldn't have had that. And again, people that are like, well, all the whales are going to end up with what they had or whatever. If Wonders did not care, if the team did not care about the players, about the collectors, about the people, and only cared about the bottom line, it would have been a first come, first serve sellout. We're not going to do any of this business of, here's the point system and the algorithm. I mean, they didn't give us the algorithm until like days later because they were trying to figure out how to do it the most fairly, or the most even the most blindly. Maybe if I was Frenchie and I was like, hey, I don't care who the boxes go to, let's just start with the biggest orders and fulfill all of those and then just work our way down. And then people that ordered 1, 2, or 3 boxes, sorry, you should have ordered more next time. I mean, if that's really the case, if they really wanted the whales to whale out hard and to keep the whales happy, that's what they would have done. First come, first serve. You would have gotten points for ordering first. You would have gotten more points if you ordered a bigger order, but they didn't do that. They wanted to get boxes into everybody's hands. And honestly, I think the people they ticked off the most were some of the whales or even some of the dolphins, because they ordered. I mean, some people had to order multiple orders because the orders maxed out at 60, right? And they were getting entire orders canceled and getting less than the 60 that they ordered. I mean, like I said, someone said that they expected and they got slaughtered. And I understand that, but the fact that we have more people with Call of the Stones boxes than we do with Existence boxes, and the whales aren't whaling out on this one yet, I think just shows how much respect the Wonders team has to try to get this out into as many hands as possible. And to just flat out say like, oh, well, here goes the whales, hoarding everything again. They ain't hoarding nothing. They got allocated just as hard.
Yeah. So 2 things here to kind of stack onto what you're talking about, Texan. And Tex, this should be familiar to you because this is me talking about boba in the little that I know. The World Championship boxes came out at some point moderately recently, and those were kind of first come, first serve and have been in the past. I know the Eagles Philadelphia box a couple years ago or last year was first come, first served. They sold out in like
I think in literal. I think it was like less than 30 seconds.
So like
it was like pretty much instantly.
So we know that the team does, because the team behind Boba is the same team behind Wonders. We know that they do sales like that. So seeing them take the time to do this here shows how much they care about everyone having access. And the second thing is when you actually look at what the process of allocating looked like, not just how the points were determined, but what the process of the allocation was, is that everybody got a specific amount, and that was what got filled at the first round. They made sure everybody got 1 box, and then there was a max amount that you could get. And if your order was this much and your max amount was this much, you got this much, and everybody got. And then if that had completed your order, you were moved from the list, and then they ran it again. It was not like you said, Tex, they could have just gone all the biggest orders first, but they literally gave a specific amount and fulfilled that amount. And then once each order was fulfilled in the 3 waves, they took out the people whose orders had been fulfilled. And I think that's a very different system than some people might have been expecting.
Right. And just to touch base on what you just said. So if you're not familiar with Bo Jackson Battle Arena, for the people that are watching, it's a very similar game to Wonders. It's a TCG game. It uses athletes as superheroes, and they battle. They have points and everything. But they do championship edition boxes after like the Super Bowl and the World Series, and they were always first come, first serve sales, like you said. The OKC championship boxes sold out. I think, it was less than a minute, less than 30 seconds. And the Eagles box, when they won the Super Bowl, the Eagles Super Bowl boxes did pretty much the same thing, sold out pretty much instantly. So this time they took that feedback of, so many people not being able to get it. because there's two boxes they do. There's one that's numbered to 99 or 999 boxes, and then there's a second edition of an alt art box that is 250, I think, 250 boxes. So very limited. And this time they did half of them first come, first serve. And then the second half, you could enter into a drawing essentially to win a code to then purchase a box. So they reworked the system to try and make it as fair as possible. So, I mean, I was right there. As soon as 2:00 hit, I hit the button, I hit, add to cart, and I got nothing. It just sat there and stared back at me. And by the time I did it again, everything was gone. But I entered into the second chance drawing, and I actually was able to get a box out of the second chance. My name got pulled, or my email address, however it worked. So they definitely have community in mind, and they're very conscious in both Wonders and Bow Battle Arena, about this issue of scarcity and trying to make as much available to the community in the core, people, the people that participate the most. They try and make it, as fair as possible. And I think, they've, all things considered, they've done a pretty good job up to this point.
Yeah, there could have been multiple ways to do it, and there was no great way to skin this cat.
Right.
Sorry, like someone was going to get upset, people were going to get hurt. Frenchie was probably going to have stressful days, and this was all going to go downhill, no matter what they decided. But in the end, I do think this was the lesser of two evils, to have more boxes and more hands versus fewer boxes and fewer hands. And so I applaud them. And two, they also upped the allocation from half the collector box supply to 65%, which means, that's 15% less for the retail store. So, I originally, again, making up numbers, they were saying, hey, LGSs, if you order a case of boosters, we'll give you a collector box to sell. Well, now 15% of whatever the number is, they cannot say that to. So there's going to be less collector boxes now in stores, which is another thing people are going to complain about. But
and
we get
I think
more
that's
for the people that are involved in the community.
Yeah, and I think that's something that a lot of people in the community forget about too in times like this. They forget that there is a certain amount that has to be held back that goes to the, the card shops and the game shops and stuff. That has to happen to grow this game and to get this game into the world and to get this game into more people's hands. A fair amount of it has to go to the card shops, in out there in the game stores. And you have to remember too that the company themselves hold back a certain amount of product to use in future contests and as prizes in competitions and stuff like that. So, people think in the community that, basically they have the entire inventory, at their disposal, when in reality, it might only be a third or a quarter of the entire inventory that, is available to us.
I think
that sometimes gets lost, I think
there's also, I'm going to try and figure out if I can get this wording right. And if I don't, fuss at me. I think there's a little bit of blindness right now because we see we're seeing the ability to buy collector booster boxes, or we had seen that. And we don't see the ability to buy play boosters right now. And so I think a lot of people are going, this is my chance to get cards. I need to get these cards now. Even if this wasn't necessarily the SKU or the product that would have been originally targeted at them. Like, I think we had a lot of people who would normally buy play boosters go, this is my chance to get Call of the Stones. I don't want to miss out. This is my chance. And it was a sense of great marketing. You create a sense of urgency and people want it. But I think there's something to remember is that there's still a bunch of play boosters coming out. And if anybody just needs cards, you're going to be able to get that with the play boosters.
Right.
Yep. 100%. Again, you're only with every box, you're only going to get on average, 10 hits, formless foil, and 1 OCM. Like that's all you're getting with these booster boxes. You were paying a luxury tax. If you just want cards, the play packs, as far as we know, are going to be the same as 2/3 of the packs inside that collector booster box. And I think that's something that people haven't, either I'm doing the math wrong or people just haven't sat down to really think about. But you open a collector booster pack and there's not a formless foil or OCM in it, it's basically a play pack. And so, if you just want the cards to play with, I totally get that. You're still better off. In fact, the video I'm going to make is, should players buy collector booster boxes and packs? And spoiler alert, the answer is no.
Breakers too is another group that gets a certain amount of allocation too that we forgot about. That's
Frenchie
said that they don't get anything.
Oh, they don't. They don't.
Breakers do not get any special treatment. They didn't get any points. He said they don't even sell wholesale to breakers, which is essentially what it was. Okay. It was a wholesale buy, because typically I don't know about cards, but I know in comic shops and collectibles, the margin's only 50%. So if you buy something for $300 from your comic shop, they probably paid $150 to the distributor to get that product. So the fact that we got $250 off of $375 is huge. It's almost wholesale price, which means that we're not getting it for much more than what your LGS would get it ordering from the distributor. But anyways, all that said, they aren't wholesaling to breakers. Frenchie specifically said in a very blunt way, if breakers should not rely on us and we're not going to be crutches for breakers, they're going to have to buy it from the same means you guys are. And if they want to break wonders and make a profit, they're going to have to do it in their own way. You can like that or not. It is what it is. I don't think it's good or bad. I think it is what it is. And, I think that just shows, again, they're not favoring the bottom. I mean, they're making a profit, but they're still favoring the community in every way possible to make that profit, rather than trying to blow up the biggest profit by selling to the breakers and making sure that they're happy. Frenchie wants the game to succeed in a way that I don't think a lot of companies are running. And this is another example of him zagging where everyone's zigging. And I like it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I like it too. And I'm glad Cardio Chris has to open up his wallet a little now. So
yeah, great. Because that's going to pass on to me buying a $20 pack.
Yeah, me too.
Frenchie made a specific point of talking about cardio, when he was talking about breakers not selling wholesale to breakers. So
right. Huh?
Yeah, and I think he even said Hobby Club wasn't buying anything on the pre-sale, specifically. Like they're getting it on the secondary market. That's their strategy, I guess. That's
scouring crazy. Card shops and Targets, and just like the rest of us in a few months. And that's the other thing that's weird too. Like this, we're talking about something that's not coming out till February. It seems like like we're days away from this coming out, and we're still,
what a crazy
like 3
thing.
months away.
Why would you do the pre-sale 2 weeks before Vegas, right? Like I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I could have bought a lot more and been allocated down, but still have more probably if I wasn't going to Vegas. If I didn't just drop money on, I used a lot of points as much as I could and then sold a lot of cards, but I could have sold those cards for more cards. Instead, I bought it for plane, for Ubers, for food, for registrations, for parking, for hotel, right? Like it's, or wherever I'm staying. It's like, I could have had a lot more money, but it was like all of this money was tied up into Vegas. So I didn't have as much. That's why I was like, I want to buy more, but I got to find the money somehow. And, going to the comic shop and selling some comics, it was a whole thing to try to pay for Vegas. And then I got to try to get this pre-sale on top of it because, I try to keep my fun money separate from, family money. And
I'll give you a hint.
To try to figure that out it was a game in of itself.
I'll tell you what my secret is. Credit cards. Check them out. They're great.
Yeah.
You can put as much as you want on them.
Responsibly.
I think I have to be the responsible one here.
Get yourself like 4 or 5 of them.
Listen, I love my Apple Card. I love my Apple Card. That's what all my fun money comes off of, and then it gets paid off at the end of the month. 2% cash back every day. Apple's texting me, "Hey, we just put $3 in your account. We just put 70 cents in your account." It's like, I love it. Thank you, Apple, because I just put it on the card, and then at the end of the month, all the money goes onto the card and pays it off, and basically everything is 2% off. So I love that. But don't spend it if you can't pay it off. Otherwise, you're going to just be paying. You're going to be buying money with more money.
I can hear Scott screaming in the plane back from Istanbul right now. This is not financial advice.
This is
in
not
any
financial
way.
advice. Yeah, we
None
need a
of this is
graphic. We
financial
need a
advice.
lower third. This is not financial advice. Do not do this.
Yeah. So anyway, let's talk about Vegas. Vegas is coming up. It's this weekend, right?
That's right. I am ready.
Does it kick off
As
on
ready as I
Friday?
could be. I got to actually put my cards together.
You still haven't put your decks together?
I got my deck. I did make one final change, I think, this weekend. But yeah, now I got to actually put the cards together and pray that someone gets to Vegas with the card I'm borrowing, because I just have not been able to get it.
So now, what are you playing in? Are you playing in the Dragon Cup, or are you playing in some of the lower tournament?
I'm playing in the Stoneseeker Cup. It is not the lower tournament. They are together both world champions. It's like it's like the AL champion
Separate
and
but
the NL
equal.
champion. It's separate but equal. That's right.
No!
And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that because I'm in the Stoneseeker. I would say that if I was in the Dragon Cup as well. They are two different tournaments. It's not NASCAR and Busch League or whatever it is. And if the team or Frenchie or Wicked wants to come out and say, no, the Dragon Cup is the world championship, that's fine. But I want to make sure that we don't take away from whoever wins the Stoneseeker and whoever wins the Dragon. They are two divisions, because there are different requirements. And literally everyone that can play in the Stoneseeker may not be able to play in the Dragon Cup just by the ticket entry. So I think it's important that we don't look down on the Stoneseeker people. And again, I don't say that as a Stoneseeker competitor. I say that as, these are two different leagues, like AL and NL, not like MLB and AAA.
It's also that I would expect that of the people who are going into the Dragon Cup, and we've talked about this on this show before, the people that go into the Dragon Cup playing their optimized comfort deck that they play all the time is not going to be a large percentage. Mm-hmm. Because the cards that you need, and a lot of the best cards, you need OCMs, you need formless foils. The prices for the rares, mythics, epics on those,
very expensive.
Very few people, unless they partner with a backer, are going to be able to put together their ideal deck. Versus in the Stoneseeker tournament, you can play with your deck. You can play with your comfort deck that you've been testing for and playing with and competing with and doing all this stuff with for months.
Yep.
And you might be able to do that with whatever you can get your hands on for the Dragon Cup and test and play with that. But it's not going to be the same thing. You're not going to be playing necessarily with what you are most comfortable with.
Yeah, and listen, I'm gonna say it right here because people for some reason don't believe me. The best players are going to be in the Dragon Cup. Listen, you're good at something, you play in the cup with more money. That's just what it is, right? I would love to be playing in the Dragon Cup. It just wasn't in the cards for me this time around, and that's fine. I'm not upset at that. Again, I'm happy to compete in the Stoneseeker. I'm happy to compete with more optimized decks against more optimized players and pilots and all that. I totally get it. But I wish, trust me, I wish I was in the Dragon Cup. And if someone came to me tonight and said, hey man, I've got 25 OCMs, we can figure out the formless foils, I would and have told them no, because I don't want to play with a less than 75% optimal deck. If it doesn't make sense as a deck, if I'm sitting there with a bunch of cards trying to play in a Sin deck, an Angel deck, but for some reason there's a random Awakening in it because that was the only formless foil that I had to fill out the deck or whatever, like I could deal with that. But if it's a bunch of random cards and I'm trying to put together something and it's 3 colors.
If it's hodgepodge.
And it's hodgepodge, I don't want to play with that deck. The promo doesn't mean that much to me. I'm sure I could maybe make it into the top 16 by some miracle top 8. But once you're at that point, you're in a competitive sweat there. And I would rather be in that moment. I want to play with the great players, with the greats, the champions. But I want to play them with an equal deck, so to speak. So, I'm happy to be playing. In fact, I know of someone that is playing a great deck, but it's just missing a few optimizations. Not that the deck is reliant on it, but it's not fully where it could be, because they can't get this mythic OCM or formless foil, and it's tough, and there's going to be some great players there. But all that said, I will be more comfortable and I think more pleased with myself doing the Stone Seeker with the deck that I want to play with, rather than a dragon deck with just what we could get put together.
Now,
And
go ahead, Grace.
I was going to switch the subject a little. So if you want to say something on this text, go ahead.
No, I can do it afterwards. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and we got news today at 6:29 p.m. Eastern time that is going to be really important for people who are playing in Vegas. We got the official announcement in Discord about what the end of game procedure is. And we saw it change from Orlando to Texas to Baltimore. There was something different every time. So this has been a question up in the air for the past since Baltimore. I'm not doing that math in my head right now because time and date math is hard.
All math is hard.
Yeah, I'm a communications major for a reason, Tex.
I hear you.
And so I'll read word for word what this post says after the actual procedure starts. Timed rounds now include new tiebreaker rules and clearer, more precise wording to define the end of game process. When time is called, each player may take up to three additional turns, starting with the current turn player. Once these turns conclude, players are considered to have passed in succession, ending the round following the comprehensive rules guide. If the game has not reached round 7, the match is a draw. If the game has reached round 7, stones determine the winner, with the lowest numbered realm tiebreaker used if the stones are tied. So there's a lot there.
I like it.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot. That's from something.
Now, Texan, now you hearing that rule change or knowing about that rule change, does that affect your play strategy at all?
Yeah, I'm not going to take 5 minutes per turn or try to delay. No, it doesn't affect my strategy. I play to win. I play for the full game. It does affect a little bit of, I'm going to try to be more aware of slow play. I'm going to be more aware of I'm definitely a big lesson I learned from you. Watch one of my videos. I talked about the lessons I learned from SCG. You have to keep in mind the time. So if we're still in realm 4 or 5 and there's 15 minutes left, okay, I might, really consider calling the judge over for slow play. If there's 5 minutes left and we're still in 6 and we still have lots of actions left, I'm going to start being more aggressive if I don't have most of the stones. Because if there's 5 minutes left and you're going to go into even round 7, but you don't think you're going to finish, how am I going to make sure that I have my stone or have a majority of the stones going into the last 5 minutes, or at least a way that I know that I can get more stones in 3 actions? Because that could be tough, because I like to save my actions. I like to save to the end of the game, tap all my lands, and spend the last realm 7 with 10 actions or whatever it turns out to be. So, it may encourage a little bit of earlier harvesting, but to me, I don't think it's going to change anything until we get about 15 minutes left. Then I'm going to start thinking about, okay, how can I make sure I'm 3 actions from winning, just in case that happens.
And go ahead, Grace.
One thing that, to my understanding, it does affect is that it does say that the game ends, which there is one particular card that I'm thinking of that affects, and that's T-set. Because T-set switches back at the end of the round.
Yeah.
And sometimes the rounds didn't, at least in the Shattering, the rounds didn't. Okay,
so end. I need to message, or someone needs to message Wicked, because my understanding is if the game ends, the round is ending with the game. So if you're saying, I guess I should clarify, are you saying that T-set wouldn't move the stones back if the game ends?
I'm saying it would.
Can you explain what T-set does? For the people
No, we're going to keep people in the dark on this one. We don't need to tell people about T-set, the keystone of my Houston deck.
Oh, okay. Well, figure it out on your own, people.
Stellar Harmony T-set, Texan can probably give you the exact wording, and I can probably tell it to you in vague terms that sound something like it. You play it, and then it has a sacrifice-free ability. Switch control of the stones at the end of the round. They switch back. Did I mess that up, Texan?
Yeah. So yeah, sacrifice. You play it. The opponent gets a turn, and then on your turn you can sacrifice it. That's usually the strategy. And the stones switch. So if I hold 4 stones and Tex, you hold 3. Now you hold 3 and I hold 4. But at the end of the round, the stones switch back. So the typical strategy is if I'm losing across the realms and I switch the stones. So now what I can do is I can attack you, lose the stone on purpose, because at the end of the round, it's going to come back to me. So if you're in a losing position, T-set's very powerful because now you can basically just lose on purpose. All the stones switch back, in which case now I'm holding more stones and I win the game. So
and this may be where I'm out of date. At the Shattering, when time ended and your overtime ended, the round and the game didn't end. So the stones didn't switch back. So that was a strategy in and of itself to play the T-set. And I don't know how exactly that was handled with the various different iterations of whether or not the game actually ended at the SCG cons, but that was something that stuck out to me, that it very clearly says in these rules that the game ends and it ends the round.
So like you're saying so it does say on the rules on the website that the game ends and the round ends and the game ends. Is that what you said?
These turns conclude the 3 additional turns. Players are considered to have passed in succession, ending the round following the comprehensive rules. So once you take your 3 turns, the round ends and the game ends, and anything that triggers on round end will go swoop. In the case of T-set, it'll flip-flop back. And that's something...
Good. That's the way it should be.
It is. It's just something that people are going to need to be aware of if they have on-round end triggers.
Right. I don't know. That was a given to me. That's like, hey, water's wet. Like, I don't know. I guess some people didn't think like or tried to plan that.
Well, I think part of it is just the thought process that I had that was at the Shattering. When time was up. No, the round didn't end.
Everything just froze, and how it was.
Everything froze exactly as it was. And I thought I understood that might have been how it was at one of the SCG cons. So that may have been a misunderstanding on my part. But the way they spelled that out so clearly makes me feel like that was an important clarification to some people.
Yeah, I mean that's good. I'm glad we got the clarification. I'm glad we know that if it's going to be. The other thing I think to clarify is if the game has not reached round 7, the match is a draw, which means if you're in round 6 and time is called, and you both take your 3 actions, and it is still not round 7, it's a draw.
Yeah.
So even if somebody has more stones than the other person, it's still a draw.
And I think I personally, and I might get some heat for this, I like that. Because so many of the best players in the game are building up to round 7. They are saving up their gas for round 7. And so one of the strategies that has been employed, from what I understand, is that people would play slow so that time would stop before you could reach round 7 and people could pull out their show stoppers so that nobody could trigger ascend abilities without using lunar empowerment. So that people who had things that they benefited on round 7, they'd stall the game, they'd stall their play. And that was a way to win. And so making it a draw, if you do that, disincentivizes people to do that.
Yeah, there's still a little of, I think, incentivization. I wish Cap was here because he probably can say it better than I can. You know, if I'm losing real bad and I don't have a way out,
better to have a draw than a loss. But.
And maybe my opponent is like, I'm out of actions, I can't do anything. And it's like, okay, well, I'm out of things too, but maybe I just tap free, pass, okay, harvest, pass, tap free or sacrifice free or something. I don't know. Like just kind of noodle around because then it's like, oh, well, it's not round 7. We didn't both pass. So now it's a draw. You know, I kind of am concerned about that too. I think that's one of the things where it's just like both players need to be aware of the time. And if and look, I said it in today's video. What happens to you is your fault or your responsibility. So if someone slow plays against me and I'm stuck in that situation, that's my fault. I need to be monitoring the time just as much.
And as Cap says, if somebody's playing slow and you think that's a tactic, call a judge.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to have a timer at your table?
Yes.
Are you allowed to keep the time yourself?
Yes. Now I learned this from SCG. All right, there's lessons with American Texan here. Get around the campfires, kids, because it's time to listen to this old man spin a yarn. Yes, the time is displayed. Like they look at the clock when I was in Houston. They say, all right, it's 12:30. You got 50 minutes at 1:20. Math. The round is done. The time we're calling time at 1:20. So you can see the clock. Now it's not the best clock. It's not the most perfectly displayed, right? There are problems with everything. But they would say it's 1:20. And so whenever the judge would come by and be like, hey, Judge, how much time we got left? And they wouldn't even do the math. They would just be like, time's up at 1:20. And you'd have to look at the clock and do the math in your head. So, but one of my opponents had his phone on the table and was running a timer. He's like, hey, I got a timer here so we know how much time is left. I was like, okay, perfect. Well, Tex, what happened was, and I don't think this was on purpose. I'm just not that kind of guy to think that. But what happened was that the judge called time when his phone still had like 4 or 5 minutes left. And
really?
I was like, what happened? I was like, you set the timer. He's like, yeah. And he's like, we found out that the judge had called like, hey, time's starting now. But my opponent did not start his timer at that time. He started it 5 minutes late or when we started playing. I guess we were slow setting up.
Missed the gun.
We missed the judge calling time start. So be aware of what the judge says. You can have that timer. But honestly, after that, I don't think I trust it, even if it was my own timer.
Did you guys see what Capricorn said in the chat? He said, I spoke to Wicked about it, referring to the rules discussion you guys were talking about before. When both players are out of turns at the end, it is treated as a double pass. So the round technically ends, triggering all round end effects. Do you guys understand what that means?
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you explain it to me?
When the game's done, the round is over.
That's it. It's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Wonders, everything requires actions, and if you have no actions, and you both have no actions, that means the game's over. So the game is over.
If you're out of actions, it's treated as a double pass. Which, if you both pass, you could have actions and energy to use. But if you pass and your opponent passes, it goes to the next round.
And that's a huge
game,
strategy. Is when you're winning, you pass, so that you're forcing your opponent to do what they're going to do, and then you save your resources to respond.
Yeah.
Right.
You get to now if time's running and you're sitting there letting your opponent run all his stuff, and you're like, well, you take the stone, I'll just take it back. Not if time runs out.
Oh no, you don't have time to take it back.
Whoops.
And that's I literally lost a game like that in Houston. Really? I was 2 actions away, or 2 turns away. Not even 2 actions. No, I was 2 actions away from winning. I was going to play a card, pass to my opponent. He couldn't do anything, pass back to me, and then I would take the winning stone. What happened? Time was called. Every person gets 1 action. So all I could do was play the card, but I did not have the action. I could not spend my last action because that was it. That was the rule in Houston. So I lost that game. I was 15 seconds from winning. And I missed the 15 seconds because I didn't manage my time correctly. And that, again, is my responsibility because I just didn't manage the time correctly.
Now, so there's 2 tournaments in Vegas. One is the Stone Seeker tournament, and that requires, is that the one that the entry ticket is a stone foil?
That's the Dragon Cup.
That's the Dragon Cup.
The Dragon Cup
hoards all the nice cards.
Yeah. Okay, so the Dragon Cup, you need a stone foil, which is a 1 of 1 card to be entered in. And for the secondary tournament that I'm blanking on the name now all of a sudden.
Stone Seeker Cup.
Stone Seeker Cup. That requires 25 OCM.
Nope, that's all for the Dragon Cup.
Oh,
the Dragon Cup is.
Oh, okay.
You need a stone foil's your ticket. You need only formless foils and serialized cards, or pre-release slabs. And 25 of the cards in the deck must be OCMs. The Stoneseeker Cup is just show up with what you got. As long as it's as long as it's legal, you can't have two of the same legendary, but have paper. Have an OCM in there if you want.
The Stoneseeker is your traditional constructed tournament.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. And now is the gameplay in each tournament the same?
Mm-hmm. The gameplay and the deck, the actual, not the physical cards themselves, but the deck building requirements as far as how many points you're allotted.
Right.
Like Grace said, the
DBS
legendaries and everything, those are all the same. And then also the entry ticket, the entry fee, besides the Stonefoil card, the entry fee is $250 for the Dragon Cup and $50 for the Stoneseeker.
Okay. And are you allowed to play your Stonefoil, or is it just as your?
You are allowed. You just have to have it in hand. That can be your ticket, and then you put it in your breast pocket and never touch it again, or you can run it in your deck.
You don't have to have it in hand. You have to have proof that you own it. Which is
that was my next question.
My understanding is the way I understood it. Now, granted, I didn't put that many brain cells into it because it doesn't affect me. The only way you could really show proof of ownership if you don't have it in hand is if it's vaulted with block packs.
Correct, and that was just the thing that I was getting at, was that if collectors are sending a team and they are not going, or they don't want to take their Stonefoil with them and it's not needed for the deck, they can send it to the Wonders team, the Block Packs team, and they will vault it so that you don't.
I don't think that's an option anymore. I don't think.
Are they?
I don't think they did that. I think they said we're not going to be able. We don't have the manpower or time to do that. So
did I miss that?
They have to show up in proxies person. Then they're not.
Yeah, you can play with proxies, but you have to have the real cards there.
When did
so you still have to bring the physical cards.
Yes, the only exception is the pre-slabs that are vaulted.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. C-Tech asked something here. There are cards that have effects when the rounds end, or when the round ends. This will trigger them. So
I think he's making a statement.
Oh, okay. So he's not asking a question?
Yeah.
Well, I have a question then based on that.
Okay.
So if you know that, say you're down to 10 minutes, 5 minutes in the game, and you're in the 5th realm, say, right? And it doesn't look like you're going to make it to 7. Would you then maybe play a card, like change your strategy around to, in the round, to have a card that ends, or that you playing that round that would have an ending action for when the game ends? They could then help you if you think you're going to come up on time in the game before you get to the 7th, before you get to the natural end of the game.
Texan, you can disagree with me on this, but most of the, aside from T-set, most of the on-round end triggers are setting up for the next round. Scorpion's Edge is an example. On-round end, you can return it to your hand so that you can play it and attuned equipment that will buff that will buff a wonder. You can return it to your hand so you can play it for free because it's attuned, so no action, reduced cost. You can usually play it for free. There's stuff that returns stuff from the abyss on round, and most of the triggers wouldn't be game winning stuff other than T-set, to my knowledge.
Yeah, if there's any, I can't bring them to mind. Yeah, there might be, if I was a better player, right? People would be like, "Oh yeah, well, obviously this one can help you win the game if you do it this way." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, okay." Unfortunately, I just can't bring those cards to mind. But yeah, most of the round end stuff is going to be setting up for the future, unless there's just something weird like, "Hey, at the end of the round, if you have more power, take the stone," or maybe Courageous Heart Emblem. You could on round end bring your Barney back, and then now you can't take the stone from me. So, haha. Yeah. I don't know. There's probably a combo there, but I don't think that way. That's one of my weaknesses, is I just haven't been around trading cards long enough, or trading card games, to really think of like, how can I game the system in this way? I'm still figuring out Swiss rounds. How does Swiss rounds work? I don't understand. How is a draw a half loss? I'm too American and I'm too Texan to figure this out. Give me brackets. Give me something to I know my path. This whole Swiss thing is just weird to me still. And then
And-
everyone I tell that to, they're like, "Oh, that's just the way it is. This is how we've been doing it for 20 years. My name is Capricorn." I don't understand these people.
Oh,
So one
Capricorn
of the
catching
things
strays.
that I wanted to point out with this is the 3 turns is going to feel very familiar to Magic players, at least from my experience. When I go to play at pre-releases, which is one of the, it's not really competitive, but it's one of the events that you can show up to and there's a standard set of rules. You start on turn 0 and there are a total of 5 turns. So you can so player 1 finishes turn 0, player 2 takes turn 1, back and forth for a total of 6. Finishing, including the turn that you're on, it's 3 each. And so I think, I don't know if that decision was made because we're seeing more Magic players or just because 2 wasn't enough. But that's definitely going to feel familiar to Magic players. And that's...
Yeah, but I mean, I watched Cap play some Magic today, and
Yeah.
a Magic turn is totally different than a Wonders turn.
No,
a Wonders
it is,
turn, you can only do
but-
one thing. It's not a Magic turn where you can sit here and just noodle around.
But you take
days.
my point that if you're planning to be able to do... If you're planning for 3, that will feel similar.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that. I wouldn't give Magic the credibility to be a part of that decision. I think it was just looking at Wonders and just like, hey, 1 turn per wasn't enough. Let's try 3. Right?
Well,
maybe 5's too many. I don't know.
I was making the point more that we are seeing more Magic players. And so whether or not that played into the decision, it will feel familiar to them. And that when something feels familiar, people feel more confident and comfortable. If that makes sense. Like, never mind.
Sure. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm not I've never played a competitive game of Magic. And Hanging Bananas makes a point, and this is something that we have to keep clarifying in the Discord. When we say proxies, we don't mean you just printed out a piece of paper and put it inside of a sleeve. We do mean like having a paper version of that. I know that's something that I don't know where it started. When I hear the term proxy, I think of the paper card instead of the OCM. So like, for example, if I have the pre-slab of Remains of Barnabas and I say, I need to proxy it, I'm grabbing a paper Remains of Barnabas, not printing one out. I don't think any trading card game worth its salt would let someone compete for money with paper printouts, even if they have the physical card, in a sleeve and a binder somewhere. I think you still need the paper. So he said, Hanging Bananas shared too. He said someone in Baltimore was trying to use proxies and they were forced to rip open their sealed quill and other cards they tried to proxy.
Couldn't imagine having to rip open a quill box.
Yeah, I was going to say, does he mean a sealed quill box? Because, that was actually answered in the Discord. Someone was like, hey, if you have a quill box, does that mean you can proxy a quill? And I'm like, no.
Only if you
like
can
maybe I have a quill,
Yeah.
but I loan it out. So I want to proxy. I don't know. Whatever. Anyways.
Since you guys are so immersed in this world, and Texan, you're getting ready to head to the big tournament in Vegas and everything, I want to know where you see Wonders headed, like a year from now when we're getting ready for next year's Dragon Cup. Where do you see this game being?
Man, I love the Dragon Cup idea. I love it as a player. I love it as a fan. I love it as a community member. I love it as a competitor. I don't love it as a Dolphin collector because all OCMs are going to be not inflated. They're going to be where they are. But for a moment there before the Dragon Cup, you could get a common OCM for $25, $30.
Mm-hmm.
You could get a rare OCM for $75. Now everything is doubled. For real, like we used to say, like common OCMs are going to be $100 in 5 years. No, they're $100 now. And so like if I wanted an OCM or a formless foil, I got to compete for all the collectors that are not just trying to build one of each card, not just chasing one of everything from an Umberthine. They're now trying to collect a play set of formless foils / OCMs because they know they're going to need that for next year's Dragon Cup. If we see 4 to 8 optimized decks in this Dragon Cup. Next year, we're going to see at least double that, because now collectors are going to have their eye on the prize. Why would I mean, I know why, but why only collect for my personal collection and happiness and gratitude when I could also collect to win $200,000 next year or whatever the prize is, so
it might be $500,000 next year.
Yeah. Like I said, the players that are the best are going to get sponsored by collectors because they're going to be playing for more money. That's just what it is. When you're a good player, you get paid for it. And so the same thing, if you're going to be a good collector, why not get paid for it? And it's going to make, so for the future of Wonders, collecting is about to get a whole lot more competitive. You're going to be competing not only on price, but also I think some trades are going to be considered, oh, well, this collector sponsored that player and he's the one that beat me, so I'm not going to trade to that collector. Or I'm going to undersell it to another collector. Even though you offered me more money, I don't want to play this in a deck against you or your player next year. It's going to do something crazy to the collecting market. I don't know what it's going to be. I know I'm going to have to spend more money or trade for things, which makes the collector boxes more valuable, right? Because I know out of however many boxes I get, I'm only going to get so much, and it's probably not going to be anything firearm related. So I'm going to have to trade those out, figure out how I'm going to get other packs elsewhere to trade, because I try to do all my collection building on trades, not just cold hard cash. I'm just old school. I would rather trade for cards than just go onto eBay and buy them. I don't know. It just still feels icky to me. Same thing when I'm like, I have this gap. I'm missing issue 2 of the loose end. And it's like, well, I could go to eBay and buy it. I can go to my comic shop online and buy it, but I don't want to buy it unless it comes through my LCS. I like to say I have an Art Germ cover collection, and I'm missing these issues. I could easily go and buy them on eBay, but I want to find them in a shop. I'm just old school that way. And so anyways, all that to say, I think we're going to see the collector market get really competitive. Some interesting things are going to happen, because if I'm not going to trade with some collector because I know who he's sponsoring and I don't want his players to have this card in their decks, or make it harder to have this card in their decks. And then I'm going to tell my friends, I'm going to tell my team, if I have a team, hey, don't trade with these guys. It's going to do something weird and wonky with the collector market, in addition to, just making the prices increase. I have no idea how booster boxes are going to do in card stores. I'm glad we got booster boxes. I don't know if we're going to get bundles. I hope we get bundles to make an even more affordable price entry point. But it'll be interesting to see what loose play packs can do on the market. What are they going to do with those alt arts? What is breaking going to look like? I'm excited. We've got how many SCGs next year? 6, plus once more shops. Look at how many players we got. Look at how much more active the Discord is since SCG started. Every SCG, we bring another 100, 200 players into the Discord that want to know more. And so now you've got 6 of those next year. It's gonna be exponential. We talk about in church, you invite one friend to church, and then they invite a friend to church, and all of a sudden you've quadrupled. It's exponential. You're not adding, you're multiplying people to the congregation. Well, we're multiplying people to the community, because now we've got 6 of these, so that's thousands of people finding the game just in the conference, which means they're going to bring it to their store, which means the store's going to want to host events, which means that more people are going to find out about the game. This game is just going to take off, and we're going to blink, and we're going to look back on the days, not just when you could get an OCM for $25 or, hey, I think tokens are slept on, right?
Good, because I'm going to see tokens go up.
You can send them my way.
Okay, hit me up.
Because all the players, they're going to want 50. We talk about building play sets, and I joke that, okay, well, you need 1 of every legendary, 2 of every primary, 3 of every secondary. And it's like, but I need 50 pink spores, because pink spores you can run as many of as in your deck. Well, if you can have a deck of 50 pink spores, why not? That might be anti-meta in 10 years. I don't know. So I want 50 play spores for my pink spores for my play set. But not only that, what if you want 50 flying Suzzers in your token deck? What if you have a deck that can do that? So I think tokens are going to go up, because all the serious players, they're going to want 50 of each token in there. You're going to have boxes of just tokens, just in case we need it, right? Formless foil tokens are going to go up in price too, because you need those for the Dragon Cup. Just everything. Cap says there's 12 conventions next year. Good luck with that. Wow. Cap's going to be gold, premier, diamond status on all his flights and and everything.
They'll put his name on the side of the plane.
Board. Yeah, exactly. Get his own private jet. The Wonder.
The playability like not just the collectability, but the playability of the game is going to I won't say completely change, but I think we're going to see a lot of change just from what we've gotten through spoilers of Call of the Stones. Stone Seekers are already, like, I can already look at how that's done and tell you that it's going to change how people look at things, because story tokens change the game.
Yep.
The story tokens completely change how you look at things. We're seeing that a lot of the new abilities that we're seeing are messing with timing and placement, which we didn't really have. If you look at Call and Rage and Guardian, all of these things are adding a level of complexity to gameplay that we haven't seen yet. And I mean, only the playtesters and the Wonders team know how complex the second set is.
Dude, Call gives me not anxieties, but it makes me nervous, because you're gonna have to sit there and think, okay, well, I'm going to move all of their wonders this way, or I'm going to move all of my wonders this way. Then I'm going to call some wonders. Now so everything that they've been planning while I've been taking my turn just is totally out the water. We're not moving one wonder with V8 or with flying. We're moving multiple wonders with call. And so I kind of see turns taking longer too, as we add this complexity to the game, which will be interesting. I'm excited to see. I would love to see the player growth to the point where we have to have qualifiers or so many like documented whatever to get into the world championship or what. I mean, that just sounds the possibilities for the game are just insane, and we're barely even at the second set. Mm-hmm. I love that the team is just so dedicated to the game, to the community, that it's accessible. It's obviously still available. I did a whole video on places to get Wonders of the First, and even I was surprised as doing my research. I was like, I had no idea there was still this much product out here. Everyone pretends like it's the Depression over here, and you got to wait in bread lines to try to get a pack. And it's like, no, you can go and buy collector bundles right now for MSRP. And so, just, I mean, to see everything that we feel right now is going to get so much relief with Call of the Stones, because we're going to have it in more stores. We're going to hopefully have it in shops. We've got the pre-sale already, so more people know about that. We'll have Dragon boxes for cash. We'll have play boosters at launch. I mean, this game is going to be so much more fun once it becomes so much more accessible. And yeah, there will be the naysayers. There'll be people complaining, and they can go watch one of Ben's videos for an encouragement. I'm here to say I love this. I love this game. We're having so much fun, and just to see it grow is going to be a blast. And we're all going to be begging Infinite to please make more Wonders Discord channels, because we're just going to see general chat flying. It used to check general. You used to check general at lunch, and then when you got home, nothing changed. But now you check general and you go home, and it's like you've had 500 messages.
Now I have 3 hours of reading to do. I think, Texan, I'm going to play the card grammar police here. Typically, Call only moves one wonder.
Okay.
On arrival, you may move target.
See, I'm thinking of what's the new dragon that says call all wonders? That's what I was thinking of.
I don't want people going in to Call the Stones with that level of anxiety yet. I want them to not be going, ha.
No, I think the anxiety is going to come from players that have a story token, but they don't have the Stone Seeker, but they just put the story token in their deck anyways. Their token deck is just face up, and you're like, oh, okay, interesting.
Because that's the strategy that some people have done with tokens, is they'll just put tokens that they don't.
Well, this has been wonderful. I thought we'd maybe go a half hour. We're at an hour and almost 20 minutes. This has been great with you guys. I'm so happy we got to do this. Grace, give us a final thought.
I hope that everybody travels safe, that everybody has a really fun time at Vegas, and I hope that everybody keeps being their wonderful selves.
Awesome. Thank you. An American Texan.
Yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Your time and attention means the world to me. You can go to American Texan Plays, see my Wonders content. I'm trying to put out 3 videos a week, and I'd love for you guys to go there. We're actually going to have a special interview from Brian, I believe, this week, later on this week. I think we're all going to put out a segment. So we're going to put that out. All these content creators, we all appreciate you. We've got such a great community. Thank you guys for watching. And thanks, Tex, for picking up Slappy's wearing his shoes today. You did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I hope I did an okay job.
And I look
Started off
forward
a
to
little
seeing.
rocky, I think,
I
but
look forward to seeing Slappy with his blonde, long
yeah,
hair.
he's gonna have a big
Luscious
schwa.
locks.
Yeah,
Yeah, make sure when you're in Vegas, make sure you compliment him on his new hair.
yeah. Will do.
He'll be a little self-conscious probably.
Yeah.
Grace, before we go, plug your website, your YouTube.
I'm Wonders Workshop on YouTube. You can find me by searching Wonders Workshop. I just dropped a video earlier this week about what all the promos are in Wonders of the First, and I will be dropping a video tomorrow about the new deck builder that has been created by a community member.
Awesome. Well, thank you both. This has been wonderful. I'm Tex Hooper. This has been a Radish Digital production. Another Wonders Workshop in the books. Or no, wait, what do we call this?
I'm Wonders Workshop.
Creators
Your
of
Wonders
the First.
Workshop. What does Slappy call this show?
The free press.
Okay. Anyway, it wouldn't be a show if I didn't screw something up. So everybody, safe travels in Vegas. We'll talk to everybody soon. I'm going back to Boba where I'm a lot more comfortable.
Adios.